Hi, I'm Rachel E. Gross, and I just wrote a book called Vagina Obscura, An Anatomical Voyage, and it takes you to the center of the female body from a totally new perspective.
And I'm Armando, the artist behind the cover and interior illustrations that you'll find in this book.
We worked together really closely to create the world of Vagina Obscura, and today we'd like to welcome you into that world and share a few details on the cover that you might not notice and the thinking that went into them.
Let's dive in.
First, I thought we'd talk about color. I'd seen a lot of books about vaginas when I first started researching this project that were very pink, that used flowers or fruit imagery or a zipper unzipping, and I was kind of adamant that I wanted us to do something different.
We talked about wanting to move away from a palette that was stereotypically aligned with femininity. We wanted a more inclusive aura. The rainbow, all the color in the orchids is kind of glitchy in that way. It's in the process of transforming. It's sort of everything at the same time.
Speaking of orchids, that is a symbol that is often associated with the female body, but it's also a plant that has male and female anatomy and sort of bridges this divide between what we think of as different types of bodies.
Which touches on something this book does so well, highlighting that a lot of this anatomy is shared between both sexes.
Exactly. And fun fact, orchids are actually named for their tuberous roots, which resemble testicles. So get you a plant who can do both. And in less familiar imagery, there's the chameleon who's shedding its skin at the top. It also opens the chapter on the uterus. So I thought we could talk about what we were thinking connecting the chameleon to the uterus.
Right. The chameleon emerged organically as a symbol. Originally, we were working with a snake, which felt too familiar. They're already loaded with a lot of associations and connections to religious symbolism. And the chameleon felt fresh. It brought up ideas of shedding, transformation, and adaptiveness,
which are all qualities of the uterus. And I think this idea came up when I was researching endometriosis and saw that doctors in the past had referred to it as the pelvic chameleon. And I thought that would be really interesting to kind of reclaim that language and that imagery, because it also describes the uterus as something, like you were saying, like dynamic and transformative and ever-changing. Also in whimsical creatures, there's a sperm dragonfly who looks like he's going to have a really bad day on the opposite corner.
Yeah, and that goes back to the idea of subverting expected symbols. In this case, the trope of the active warrior sperm seeking out the passive female.
Right, exactly. And then there's something that kind of doesn't fit in as much with the natural botanical world that you've created, and that's the ship that's sailing across the ocean. It kind of is this reminder that even as we're welcoming you into this new world, there's still reminders of the old.
For me, the ship and even the crumbling Corinthian column on the right side represent colonizing forces and institutions that have defined the female body. And on this cover, the pillar and other architectural elements are literally being destroyed by these ferocious vines and fungi. And the landscape depicted here is shifting and rearranging itself and eroding these institutions. And so what's left is possibly a new understanding of the female body.
Yeah, it's so kind of alive and full of movement and dynamic action, which I love. And the last thing that I really love is my friend the clitoris makes an appearance in the background, and she's flying around as this kind of winged creature, maybe a clitorodactyl.
For me, the flying clitoris or clitorodactyl is kind of its liberated form. It's no longer grounded, it's uprooted and able to live its own life.
We love that. Clitoris, live your best life. We love this for you. So yeah, those are a few of the details that you'll find in Vagina Obscura.
And we've really just scratched the surface here. There's so much more to uncover and explore, but that's why you wrote a book.
That's why I wrote a book. So you should buy that book, which is in stores everywhere, and immerse yourself in this beautiful journey. Thanks so much for watching.